Okay, this is mostly the main electric service entrance. That's what this video is. We might catch a couple spares, like we do not have in use covers, bubble covers here on the exterior, and so far I have yet to find GFCI on the exterior. I just did there. I'll come back and get you. All right. Kind of got hung in there. All right. So we've got 3 condensing units back on this side of the wall. The other one's around the corner. But this is the main power coming into the home. It's on the south side of the garage wall. It should be sealed on the top and sides, 3 sides, to help prevent moisture infiltration from getting into the wall system. The same thing for the disconnects over here for the condensing units. This is the grounding rod, and we only have 1 single grounding rod. Of course, this home is a few years old, but today we 2 grounding rods within 6 feet of each other, and actually those are 8-foot rods, so they're supposed to be buried 8 feet, not 7 foot 6 inches. If it's a full rod, not 7 foot 6 inches. All right. Now an electrician could put his equipment on there and measure the resistance, the ohms, and that might satisfy the code inspector. It did in my house, but I don't know that, and, so I'm left to fall back on code. So condensing units. This is the far east condensing unit. That's the east condensing unit. That's the west condensing unit, and there's the far west condensing unit around there. This is the pool heater. I'll button that back up, and we got some pretty good drips going here, just in case I can't replicate that. Just in case. Moving on along. So we are in the garage now. This is the garage south wall. These are the electric service panels. And there's some light on the subject. Everybody likes light. I like a little light. Alright. Okay, here's a pro tip. When these cabinets are on, you take the one on the farthest end with the hinges. See, the hinges are on the left side of these particular panels. The hinges are on the left side, so you would take this panel off first. So that way, if the door swings open, this is closed up. The door swings open. And then you would put them on in the reversed order. But anyway, pro tip. Pro tip. You're not supposed to have a gap more than 1/18 of an inch between the cabinets. This is, you have 2 mains, by the way, and the bonding location is labeled. How about that? All right, and then a sub panel. So what do we got? Not supposed to have more than 1/18 of an inch. Not supposed to have debris in the bottom of these cabinets. All right. See that screw right there? He used to go right there. I'm not going to put him back. No way. All right. So the screws are not supposed to be. Okay. See how pointy that is? And then the threads, when you touch them, I mean, they bristle your skin. Those are for making their own way. You know, they're making their own holes. You don't want them making their own holes into your wires. The screws should be machine screws. They're a lot softer and they've got blunted ends. Okay, so one of the screws is wrong. Now, in the last few years, and this house is older than that, it's been required that L1 and L2 coming into these main panels should have had rubber covers on them. It's a safety issue, so I call it to your attention. And it's not required over here by today's standards. But anyway, that's another thing. So how is this cabinet installed? With sheetrock screws, drywall screws, gypsum board screws, call them what you will. No, they're supposed to be nailed in place. Nailed in place. Nails have a lot more shear strength than screws. Screws break, nails bend. You ever try to tear apart a tree house? No. So if this structure was to experience a tornado, for example, maybe an earthquake, these cabinets would stand a lot better chance if they were properly, fastened into the walls with nails instead of screws. I just would. I don't make this stuff up. All right. See these white wires going in there? They're hot. And if you don't know that, you don't belong in this cabinet. But again, code. I don't do code inspections, but I know a couple codes. And International Residential Code, International Electrical Code thinks that they should be wrapped with black tape, or black paint, so that any fool would know they're hot. Again, you don't belong in this cabinet. See these whites over here coming in? All right. See how they're doubled in the yolks? You can do that with round wires. You're not supposed to do that. Not supposed to do that with neutrals. Okay, so we got some double lug neutrals. Wires are touching the cabinet cover. And then we got bundling. Bundling. Okay, what's bundling? Well, L1 and L2, we don't know where they're coming in. So we have these knockouts at different places. And then we have all these smaller ones because you're only supposed to have 2 cables come in at a time, or it's called bundling. And even my illustration, my graphic, and baked into the report, kind of apologizes for that. And I hate apologizing for my work. I really, really do. But at this point, correcting it is probably going to be, your cost-benefit analysis. I'm just saying, that. I've never had a client call me back and say, "Hey, bud, we got that bundling taken care of. Thanks for catching that." It just hasn't happened. And I would never dissuade my client from seeking perfection. But I'm just saying that might not be the best hill that you're going to, die on, whatever. Wires touching cabinets, more sawdust, more screws, more double lugging of the neutrals, and we don't have rubber grommets, bundling again, repeat, rinse, and repeat. And then the sub panel, we got double lug neutrals, and bundling. And these screws are a little more substantive. They are, but they're still screws. They're still screws, and they're still wrong. Okay, so the difference between this panel and this panel is the gap. And the difference between this panel and these panels is it doesn't have white neutrals.